My name is Kirthi Jayakumar and I am the founder of the Red Elephant Foundation, a civilian peace-building initiative that works for gender equality and peace education through the vehicles of storytelling and art advocacy. Now, one thing that most of you might agree with me on is the fact that our current education system as it exists is really all about making our children the future citizens of tomorrow, economy-worthy individuals. And so the focus then remains on making them capable of achieving those amazing marks, coveting those awards, securing those certificates, successfully getting into a coaching program that will help them get into a college of their choice, which would also help them get a job of their choice, and then making them capable of securing the marks for the entrance exam, getting into the college, scoring high marks at the college, bagging that placement interview, and successfully finding themselves in a job that pays them a six-figure salary. And this cycle goes on and on and on, with the expectations continuing to remain the same, if not similar. In the process of doing this, what we're doing is we're making our children, our students, capable of adding to the world's coffers, making the world wealthy, making themselves wealthy. But what we're forgetting is a very important value, the value of compassion, of recognizing the fact that they are human and are interconnected with one another, and the fact that another's suffering invariably affects them as well. In the course of teaching our children, we focus tremendously on giving them knowledge, information overload. Our projects, our assignments, they're not cerebral enough to stimulate the child to learn lessons, but really just an exercise for them to copy something down, paste it on a system and print it out, or write it out for you. And there's a terrible danger in doing these things. Peace education is not about setting aside a separate hour every week as part of the term papers or a semester structure. It really is about, of course, keeping that alive on one side, but also restructuring the way we educate our children in what we teach them and how we teach them. You may have history syllabuses and lessons that require you to teach X number of conflicts, X number of wars, X number of incidents around the world. You may be constrained by what your textbook requires them to know, and they may be constrained by having to know that before they go in for an examination. But what if you could also involve them in a bit of cerebral research themselves, a little bit of thinking? What if you could sow the seed of innovative approaches to history, make them look at history as a simple difference between needs, wants, the fulfillment or the non-fulfillment of those wants, as I recently learned from a friend of mine. Might also be interesting for you to explore the ways to teach your children to read about more people beyond what their textbooks tell them. Your textbooks may tell your children about Mahatma Gandhi and Jawaharlal Nehru, but they may never hear as much about Sarojini Naidu or Kamaladevi Chattopadhyay. Your textbooks may teach your children that the invention of the aircraft was attributed to Wilbur and Orville Wright, but it may never tell them about Amelia Earhart, who flew a flight and disappeared with no trace whatsoever of where she went. Science, whether it's physics, chemistry, biology, computers. You need not introduce a new element in it, but just teach it in a way where they'll be able to understand that no matter what it is that they dream of, the world around them, whether they choose to be people in politics or literature, the world around them is really sort of connected because of technology and science. And that science needs to be compassionate and fall in the right hands in order to make the world progress rather than regress. And when you teach them language, what if you could stop a little before giving them the rules of grammar and syntax and the entire way of constructing a sentence, and instead taught them an extra value of compassion, of non-violent communication, and choosing the right words to use when and how? At the Red Elephant Foundation, we've identified that almost all of the national curriculum frameworks that operate in India are bereft of a component on peace education. And we've had the opportunity to network with a few schools across the country, done a couple of workshops with some of them in the country, specifically in Chennai, Bangalore, Bombay and Delhi. And in the course of these workshops, we've come to understand that the children have all that it takes to make them capable of peace and compassion. that they seem to be lacking is the means to nurture that side of them. As children, they are taught to be competitive, fierce, to the point of wanting to beat the other as being the sole goal of getting wherever they want to. And in the process, the value of collaboration is lost. Education must be pragmatic and future-facing. It's absolutely vital that it also has to come in with a lesson on empathy, a lesson that will stand our children and the world in good stead.